It's pretty nice of YouTube to suddenly take away my videos with little to no warning under the excuse of haha, hey buddy, no bullying, huh? Even though that's like half of fucking YouTube's content right now. I guess he must have tipped the YouTube cops off. Hey, no hard feelings, Jeff. Apparently being a YouTube content creator and a cuck goes hand in hand these days. The perfect time to turn myself into a hypocrite and do the worst thing you can possibly do on this platform. Anime reviews. And what better way to start than by talking about one of Yoshitoshi's Abe's most slept on works. Because you know, nothing screams views like talking about a niche anime series.
I'm home. Hey, where have you been? I've been waiting here for you all night, and I even shaved my chest hair. Just the one.
Texhnolyze's cyberpunk psychological hero's journey, created by pretty much the same team that made Serial Experiments Lain and Haibane Renmei. So if you're a fan of one of these shows, then I'm pretty sure that this one's already on your to-watch list in some way or another. Though I do understand the stigma behind this one, when the first thing that pops up on YouTube when you search for Texhnolyze is reviews of people saying, world's a fuck, right? This show? Smart like me. Because nothing matters. Aren't I smart? Yeah. I wonder if nothing matters then why did I make a Patreon account? Not to mention that most of the threads you'd find of this show would start off with something like, whoa, ho, ho, ho. What the heck, Karuni, just happened? WTF? Oh, Japan, you so crazy, XD. Another great first impressions. Without spoiling much, I'll say that the show is anything but these two first impressions, and I can understand it given the show's dark nature that some people might have been misled into calling it nihilistic, but hey, you're still wrong. During the runtime of the show's 22 episodes, it manages to be much more direct and approachable than its predecessor Lain, while containing the same feeling of strangeness and mystery that is so iconic in Abe's art. I mean, it doesn't pull a Derrida on you. Are you ready? Take a look at this. Yeah. Here's the art, and here's the show. Can't you tell by the generic anime art style that this is one of Yoshitoshi's Abe's best works? This show was bad, by the way. The phrase show don't tell gets thrown around a lot, and I don't think there's a single anime TV series out there that manages to take this to heart and with such flawless execution. If there is anything that I want you to take from this video, is to watch the first episode of Texhnolyze. Throughout just 20 minutes, the show manages to set up all the world building, characters, and even foreshadow key events with use of very clever imagery and amazing cinematography. All of it with only like around 5 lines of dialogue, with some of them being of my boy Yoshii going, and Ran going, and proceeding to not tell you a single thing about the world and just show it to you. Fuck, our main character doesn't even talk until episode 3. Oh yeah, meet your main character. Kaim from Draken, I mean Ichize. Okay, Crave, we get it. You like Yoko Taro, but this is kind of reaching, isn't it? I mean, what else are you gonna say? Are you gonna tell me this guy also has a boner for the murdering arts? I don't know, dude. You tell me. I don't really want to spoil much, but after all, the losing limbs bit is kind of fucking implied if you just look at the box art, so I'll leave the rest for you to figure it out and just point out these few little basics. Onichi is the executive director of the Organo. a Yakuza-like organization that governs over the city of Lux, bringing it order and some level of peace. Though not directly the leader of the organization, he does take charge of most of its actions and the funding of Doc's research. His legs have been Texhnolyzed at a young age. There's a conflict between the Organo and the religious Coda fanatics of the Salvation Alliance, being led by a guy named Kimata who wants to take the Organo from power because Texhnolyze bad. And in the background, a group named Rakan is being led by a guy named Shinji, who wants to get rid of the Organo's power hold and let everyone be free. This is your local anarchist group. Young and very stupid. I can easily summarize their entire existence with this clip from Ninja Theory's DMC.
And if you do kill,
ザ・オルガノ
who would take his place?
Yoshii comes from a place other characters refer to as the surface. Ran can see into the future, but it's only a possible future, allowing for changes to happen. And there's a spiritual group called Gabe that used to run the city, being led by its elder, Ran's grandfather. During all of this, Ichizei is screaming. The show likes to keep you on your toes and keep you guessing. Is Ichizei ever going to stop screaming? Is Yoshii pure? Is there going to be anime titty? Just like my asphyxiation fetish, it likes to creep up on you, twisting the narrative so that you view previous actions in a different light. Going, hey dude, hear me out. Maybe NTR isn't really that bad.
No, you don't play games with this stuff. Kill
ネトラレ
spies. Kill them now. I want them dead.
There's some elements that I feel like should have been explored better. And the rumor that this show was going to be 26 episodes really does seem plausible, as some important plot points are left unanswered and only vaguely touched upon. However, I found Ichizei's struggle, be it with limbs or no limbs, interesting enough to keep me engaged from beginning right until the show's last moments. And let me tell you, if you're a jaded fuck that has to rely on a constant stream of hololive clips in order to feel something close to emotion in your chest, welcome to the club. Now get back in line because you're not that special. But this show managed to invoke a feeling of anger from me that I have not felt since the first time watching the 97 anime adaptation of Berserk. I was absolutely fuming, but in a good way. Not because the show subverted my expectations for a cheap gas, but because it built up to it. It deserved it. And despite, again, some elements that are brought a little bit later into the show aren't explored as efficiently, I also never felt like it subtracted from the whole experience. So there you go. That's the good stuff. I promise you that at the end you'll be screaming like Ichizei. What is very good news though is the quality never really drops, and although there's some weird shots if you look closely enough, the package is relatively consistent. And it looks amazing. I mean, this is an early 2000 Madhouse show, so it is to be expected. The cinematography is absolutely on another level, and the show gives you some very creative and unique shots as well. Same goes for the soundtrack, managing to keep some of the more emotional tones for when it hits you right in the gut, but also having a very good mix of horror by keeping in line with the show's dark, strange, and mysterious nature. It shifts between the two to make you feel uneasy. These later ones almost feel like they belong in some fucking Resident Evil game, very slowly creeping up on you, making you feel vulnerable, alone, and afraid. What's in the dark? Hey, don't you feel something behind you? Remove your headphones. Can't you hear it breathing? Can't you see it? It's calling.
He's not at the woman's place either.
Good God, do you know, I think I just myself.
The ending theme is done by Gak. Yeah, this fucking guy. So yeah, if you can't get over the worst thing that ever happened to a Final Fantasy series, then you won't be able to enjoy it. The goddamn opening though is an absolute fucking banger!
If there's anything you want, anything at all, come to me. I'll be your guardian angel.
The soundtrack is used pretty sparingly, giving the show a very silent nature, only punctuated by its amazing sound design, and oh god, the sound design.
この野良犬が今度ふざけた真似したら殺すぞって。
電信出てくれないか。大西。
My only real complaint here is that the guns sound fairly generic. It's the same gun sounds you've been listening from any 2000s anime. If this sounds like a nitpick, well, yeah, that's because it is. I have to find something to complain about, otherwise this entire video would consist of me deep-throating the show. And although I don't have any particular distaste for a well-rounded fellatio, I can understand that it can get rather tiresome. Now, completely disregard everything that I previously just said, as I don't get many chances to talk about this show. So I'm going to spend the next minutes gushing over one of its most iconic parts, so if you don't want spoilers, skip to here. Otherwise, please bear with me for the duration of this metaphorical blowjob. The surface section! Yeah! This place just looks neat. The inspiration from Edward Hopper's work is very apparent here, and it's taken to great lengths to help contrast the dark city of Lux. You know, when I first watched it I didn't think much, but now, thanks to, current events, you really don't need much outside thinking to see how creepy a modern city can look when completely abandoned. Though the reason for these events are both the complete opposite of one another when compared to our reality. But who knows? Maybe we're all walking to the same bad end. I don't know anymore, man. This shit's getting scary. So, Ichize and Doc get to the surface world as it's their last hope into trying to get some help to dealing with this fucking faggot, and so the Doc can report on her success with Raffia. Only to get replied with, yeah, we kinda don't care anymore. We just wanna die. Thanks for coming by. Trying to come to terms with this, Doc just fucking dies. While Ichize wonders if it's possible to perform a double kill on a single person.
Kill them now.
And it's in here where we meet one of the last living humans of the surface world. And well, would you look at his legs. Okay, so, when humans became so fucking good that they managed to see into the future, they could ultimately see who would commit crimes and violent acts in their society. So they decided to banish these people with a quote-unquote demon inside of them underground, while the good boys would remain on the surface. However, the surface people contracted a fatal disease that corrodes the body. The only possible escape from extinction would be a substance that is only found in the depths of the underground. Raffia. Raffia is used to suppress the immune system's rejection caused by artificial limbs such as Texhnolyze. It's why Doc is so adamant on her research, for it's the only way to truly save mankind. However, the surface world, being a bunch of basic bitches, reached the conclusion that even if they survived this, something else would just show up to try to kill them again, and ultimately concluded that living wasn't worth the bother, relying exclusively on the people of Lux to carry on the human species. Ichize proudly dunks on these retards.
勝手だな。あんたたちも、あんたたちの親たちも。
And then proceeds to make his long way down to hell where everything has gone to fuck. Everyone is fucking dying, Onichi fucking dies, Ichize does what he does best and follows the vision of Ran to hopefully meet up with her, considering that she's pretty much the only person that he knows that is still left alive. Ichize comments that he did change as a person, but maybe not enough, as he's still very prone to violence. With this, he comes face to face with Piss Legs over here while the most rage-inducing, dread-filled scene plays out.
このルクスこそ僕の脳の中なんだ。僕たちが人間にあってはならない遺伝子を持っているだなんて幻想だ。僕はこのルクスと交わることで遺伝子から解き放たれたんだ。僕たちは違う生き物になるためにこれから長い時を耐える。そのための姿なんだ。ある。僕は誰よりも正気なんです。それはテオリー。 僕のお姉様が一番よく知っている。でもテオリアはもう喋らない。自分の心を自分で殺してしまった。僕の代わりになる。何を恐れている。誰よりも正気である僕を滅ぼすことは、君自身の狂気を君が認めて死ぬまで抱き続けることを示す。
Alright, wait, let's rewatch that again.
Holy shit, Jamie, pull that video up.
I think there's some subtext we're missing here. Yeah, one more time. Okay, maybe just one more time.
That shit insane!
And with this, Ichizei fucks off and throws what remains of Ran into the Raffia depth to hopefully be reborn as such. With the city mostly dead and no one left to operate it, with the rest being turned into fucking literal vegetables, Ichizei falls to sleep, exhausted, as the lights from the city fade, smiling knowing that he did everything that he could. The last man that ever lived falls quietly into his well-deserved rest. Oh no, man, that sounds pretty nihilistic to me. Yeah. Okay, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. What? Where are you fucking going, huh? Where are you fucking going, huh? What are you afraid? Nothing, man. Where the fuck you think you are, huh? The show never forces a message of hopelessness or nihilism on itself. The fact that Ichizei rejects it and returns to Lux to fight and try to help others shows that he has changed as a person and that was meaning in his life. Even if it eventually leads him to a roundabout path, ending up doing the same thing the whole fucking show started with him doing. The reasons are still completely different. Doc's research in the end does pay off and is the reason why Ichizei manages to still use his limbs, allowing for his survival. She can't have children and in some fucked up way starts seeing Ichizei more as a son, carrying her genes and legacy through their Texhnolyze limbs. Ran's vision is again only a possibility. This is mentioned many times over. The problem is that when the majority accepts such self-destructive ideals, there's only so much that the other side can do. It's a cautionary tale. I mean, come on, it's not that hard to see what it's trying to say. Most of these characters can't have offsprings and the population is growing more and more passive. This show was made in Japan, people. Can't you see what this show is trying to say? Anyway, I'm gonna stop here before I sound any more pretentious. Time to trick the guys that skip spoilers. That sounds fun. So in the end, this show was a direct sequel to Gangsta. How the hell was I supposed to know that, right? Well, that's all I had to say about this one. Part of me just wanted to talk about one of my favorite shows and, well, given current events right now, it was very easy to remember this one. And if you already watched the show and this video made you appreciate it more, then hey, that's cool. And hey, if I made you hate it more, then I guess I'm sorry I made such a shitty job. Not to shit on Lane here because I fucking adore her, but I do feel like she overshadows a lot of other works. Everybody loves Lane, but nobody talks about loving Ran, and that's kind of fucked up. I know people can sound pretty pretentious when they say stuff like, anime like these just simply aren't made anymore. However, they really aren't wrong. Spara never ever fucking ever. There's a lot more to be said about Texhnolyze. Like a lot more. Comparisons to real-world scientific research and references in mythology and religion, but I feel like I would do a disservice talking about it here. I'll link a channel in the description that did exactly this, so if you already watched the show, go check it out. Some great insight.
Hot damn! Looks like I'm getting some nookie tonight!
Anyway, I'm done here. Watch the show, or don't, it's up to you. Be safe out there. I'll be seeing you. Maybe. Hopefully. Bye. You forgot to leave a score! Suck my nuts out of 10. Follow me on Twitter, okay, bye.